Hello there! In this unit, I'm going to explain the difference between present simple and present continuous. This is when do we use the present simple, when do we use the present continuous. Okay? So, let's go for it. For the present simple, we normally use it when we talk about permanent situations or things that are always or often true. For example, I have two brothers, right? And we also use the present simple when we talk about habits and routines, that is, actions that happen regularly. For example, they swim every day, right? Now, how do we form the present simple? Remember, in affirmative sentences, we normally place or start the sentence with the subject, then we place the verb, and then the other information, right? Now, the verb, notice that has all the same form except for he, she, it, third person singular. We need an S in here, right? That's the only thing you need to remember. Third person singular, present simple, the S is always there, right? Now, how do we make negative sentences? Well, simple. The subject, we always start the sentence with the subjects in English. Then the auxiliary verb don't or doesn't. If it's the third person singular, we need the S, right? And then the verb in infinitive, the base form of the verb. For example, I don't speak German, but she doesn't live in Japan, right? Notice that the S is in the auxiliary, so we don't need it in the verb, okay? How do we make questions? Super simple. We start with the auxiliary, do or does, if it's third person singular, the subject, the verb in infinitive, and then the other information. For example, do you go to the cinema? Does she like tomatoes? Right? Remember, we have the S in here, in the auxiliary, so we don't need it in the verb. Okay? That's how auxiliaries work. They help the verb. And in here, this auxiliary is telling us, hey, I'm a question, and hey, I'm in the third person singular. Okay? Good. Now, this being said, adverbs of frequency play an important role with the present simple because they tell us how often something happens, right? Now, adverbs, these adverbs, usually go before the main verb, right? For example, he usually gets up at 6 a.m., okay? But if the sentence is with the verb be, this adverb goes after the verb be. For example, they are usually tired after work. So remember, adverbs normally go before the main verb, but after the verb be. Okay? Now, let's go for the present continuous. When do we use it? When we talk about things happening now, at the moment of speaking. For example, what are you doing? I'm watching TV. Or, what are you doing? I'm listening to the teacher. Right? And we also use the present continuous to talk about temporary things that are happening around now, these days. Right? For example, I'm reading a very good book at the moment. I'm not reading right now, but I'm reading these days, right? Or they are living at a hotel because they are painting their house. So it's a temporary situation, right? Now, we use the present continuous with time expressions that mean now or around now. For example, at the moment, at present, today, these days, right? Okay. Now, how do we form the present continuous? If we want to make an affirmative sentence, we always start with the subject, then the verb be, I am, you are, he is, she is, right? And then the main verb in ing or the gerund, the whatever you want to call it. It's also called the present participle, right? How do we make it interrogative or negative? If you want to make a question, you start with the verb be, then the subject, and again the verb in ing, right? Am I playing? Are they playing? Is it playing? And the negative, we start with the subject, then the verb be in negative, and then again the verb, main verb in ing. I am not playing. We are not playing. Or he's not playing. Remember that we can make these forms shorter, but the verb am not cannot be shortened like the others, right? So we say am not, okay? Right. So basically we form the present continuous with the verb be and the ing form of the verb. Yeah? Remember the short forms of am, is, are. We can use them in here. For example, I'm writing a book. She's listening to the radio, or they're doing their homework, right? And remember about the negative short forms. We say, I'm not writing a book, but you can say she isn't listening to the radio instead of she's not listening to the radio. Or they aren't doing their homework instead of they are not doing their homework, right? Okay, and now for the spelling of the ing form. This is important, the way we spell verbs, okay? Now remember, if the verb ends with an E, we normally drop the E, we omit the E, and we add ing. For example, from love, loving, or drive, driving, right? Now, when the verb ends with two consonants, nothing happens. We just add ing and that's it. For example, yawn, yawning, start, starting, right? When the verb ends with two vowels and a consonant, we do nothing. We just add ing, okay? So for cheat, cheating, and wait, waiting, right? Now, this is the funny part, right? Because it all depends on the pronunciation and the syllables, right? Now, one syllable verbs that end in consonant, vowel, consonant, like stop, we double the consonant, stopping, or hop, hopping, right? If the verb ends with W or X, we do not double consonants, okay? Now, if it's a two-syllable verb ending in consonant, vowel, consonant, we do nothing. We just add ing and that's it. And if it's a two-syllable adjective, but the second syllable is the stressed one, such as in admit, admit, then we double the consonant, okay? Now, if the verb ends with Y, we do nothing, we just add ing. For example, stay, staying, worry, worrying, play, playing, yeah? finally, the funny ones, the ones which end in IE, have this funny change in here. For example, lie, lying, die, dying. Okay? So, that's all. I hope this has helped a lot and has helped you clarify when to use present simple, when to use present continuous. Okay? Bye! See you around!